Hello, friends. Hi, I'm Vivek Damani, and this is our fourth edition. And before we start, I wish you, your families, and your near and dear ones are all safe and getting vaccinated as per the schedules. Uh, Friends, this is our fourth episode of our effort and endeavor to bring in Indian authors uh, who are writing in the personal finance space. They are financial experts, they are writing the books, and we are having an effort of bringing them to you live. And in this endeavor, today I'm super excited to have Jitendra with me. Jitendra Solanki, hi, how are you?
Hi Vivek.
I hope everything fine at your end.
Yes, everything is fine at our end up till now, and hopefully we are hoping that everywhere it should be fine by now.
Yeah. Let's hope. Okay, so a couple of days back, I was reading Jitendra's book, which is Financial Planning for Families Having Children with Special Needs. Now, this is a very niche subject, a very different subject, and I think very much required when there is absence of information. And that is where this book comes in very handy. I like the book because it covers comprehensively. It doesn't talk only of finances, but it also touches upon the regulatory part, the government interventions, the emotional aspects which affects the parents, and how to deal with it. So personally, it's a good book for everyone to read and to refer to people who are in need of such a book. Uh, Before we start, let me introduce Jitendra first. So Jitendra is a financial planning expert who is passionate about helping special needs children families in removing their anxiety towards special needs financial planning. His aim is to bring in the families a sense of empowerment so that they are able to provide for their loved one with special needs and to the whole family. That's the mission of Plan Special Needs. Jitendra started exclusively for families with special needs dependent. He is also author of the book Financial Planning for Families Having Children with Special Needs, and that is what we'll be discussing today. Jitendra is a SEBI registered investment advisor based out at Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh, India, and has earned a much respected professional designation of Certified Financial Planner and a Certified Trust and Estate Planner. He's a postgraduate from IIT Roorkee and has a 15 years of experience in the financial services industry. He's also the founder and director of Special Need Estate Planners Private Limited, an estate planning firm working exclusively with special needs children families on will, trust, and other legal aspects. Jitendra is a frequent writer and a speaker at public forums, shares his views and wisdoms, especially on planning for families with special needs dependents, through various media groups and TV channels, including ones dedicated to persons with disabilities. Jitendra has been conducting workshops for families, making them aware on the financial, legal, and other aspects to address while planning for the special needs future. With more than 100 workshops across India, Jitendra has enhanced awareness of more than 2,000 families. Wow, that's profound. Welcome, Jitendra again.
Thank you, Vivek.
Love to have you with us.
Thank you.
So, Jitendra, the first question that I always ask, what prompted you to write this book?
Okay. Yes. So after spending almost 10 years in the financial service industry, it was in 2010 when I completed my CFP certification. And after that, then I able to start my own practice as a financial planner. Now, slowly, when you start something of your own, so you have all those dreams, where you want to do something really great in life, and you are aspiring for, almost a completely, different career, and where, from a job you want to do something which you wanted to, do in your life. And when I started my practice, so I started as a general practitioner, dealing with all clients, right? It was not niche at that point of time. But before that, one good thing which has happened in my life is, I got married to a doctor, specifically, coming from this segment, right? Now,
Mhm.
one that was a guiding resource, for me to be motivated to understand about the family. So when you are doing financial planning and when everyone is your client, right? You want to understand everyone's life. Okay, so that was my motive also to understand everyone's life. Salary, businessman or any other. And in that I met a lot of families who have got a special
Okay.
side to care.
Hmm.
Now came the difficult part, and that's where it motivated me. Now, when I was meeting so many families, I tried to search information for myself, right? Because
Mhm.
I have started my own practice as a new planner.
Hmm.
So before helping or before making a financial plan, we always search for information, right? We
Yeah.
always want to read good books, right? I
Yeah.
was searching information, and at that time there was no information in India available for these families to do financial planning. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
now that's where I realized it's such a huge gap. Now,
Hmm.
when you look at data and when you look at the population of the family, and when you have a zero advisor in India, advising, then you can understand the gap which is there,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, that's where probably it clicked on me that I want to start something for the family. Okay, I want to assist families in their financial planning. One,
Mhm.
obviously, I wanted to do it. Second, because I have started as a financial planning practice, so
Hmm.
I wanted to do something different, than just advising, all the families. So,
Mhm.
and that's where the idea came in, but it was not easy. Advising a special needs children family, you need to understand their life first.
Hmm.
Then only you would be able to understand how the financial planning has to be done.
Hmm.
And
Mhm.
for that you need a good team. You need a good resource. Fortunately for me, my life partner provided that resource, wherein she understood. She has been working with the family for last 20 years. Okay,
Hmm.
so she has got a very well understanding about the families.
Hmm.
Second, I started my practice in 2010, and 2015 is where I launched Plan Special Needs, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And 2018 is when my book was launched.
Hmm.
So within those 5 years, I was just meeting families, understanding their life, and just you can say, I was making a note of how, actually happened,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And those 5 years were crucial to me. I think they were, those 5 years were where I understood about the families, about their life. And 2015 is where, I almost decided that I am going to run an exclusive practice for these families.
Wow. Wow. I think all these hard work, explorations, and efforts are reflecting in the book completely. So, hats off to you.
Thank you.
So, when you started, what kind of challenges you faced, and what was the initial acceptance level from the planning perspective? Because generally, we always say that was the time, some 2010 to 15, when planning itself for a normal person was also very difficult.
Yes.
So, with these set of people who are anyhow having all these challenges with them, how are they taking this?
See, it's not easy. No, I would say
Hmm.
it's not easy. And yes, acceptance didn't began when I began financial planning for the family.
Hmm.
Okay. One is because the challenges they face.
Hmm.
Okay. And so, accepting for them, first of all, one challenge which is there is somebody from outside their family. Okay.
Hmm.
From
Hmm.
their community, if advising them that it's very hard to accept unless and until they know very well, he understands their life. Okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
that's the biggest roadblock you have. Unless and
Hmm.
until you have a special child, how would you understand about their life, their challenges? So
Hmm.
the acceptance was not easy, and that's the 2015 when I started my practice.
Hmm.
And when I started plan special needs, I was not really aware of that how I'm going to enroll into these families' life. Okay,
Hmm.
how I'm
Hmm.
going
Hmm.
to approach these families,
Hmm.
because I had nothing in my hand to help to make them understand that I understand their life. I
Hmm.
understand So in 2015, in fact, I just give you an that before 2015, okay,
Hmm.
2013 is where I got my first client who I got a special child.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
and how he has approached me is
Hmm.
where I have done a small workshop. Okay,
Hmm.
that how to do financial planning, and that's
Hmm.
where he came to know, and that's where he approached me, and I made a financial plan, for the family.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, not due to COVID, but due to health reason. So last year he died. Okay, and
Oh.
he was my
Okay.
first client. Now,
Okay.
coming to 2015 when I started, okay,
Hmm.
it was really difficult, but yes, one good thing which has happened again is that I had got a lot of exposure in media
Hmm.
by that time. Okay, I was
Hmm.
writing for almost all the newspapers.
Hmm.
So I started writing on special children families through media. That's
Okay.
where I felt if I, start writing there, probably it will reach more families. Okay, and
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
they will be able to understand that I understand their life. Okay,
Hmm.
now 2015, 2016, 2017. I think 2015, one I started writing articles,
Hmm.
and I wrote few articles in Brains, Economic Times, and other media where I wrote.
Hmm.
From those articles, some of the families read it, understood it, and approached me. Now,
Okay.
second client who approached me, I just give you, the kind of challenges you have. The second client approached me.
Hmm.
He told me that it took me 2 months to decide whether I should approach you for financial planning or not. Okay,
Okay.
because I have got a special child.
Hmm.
So he read that article in Mint, and
Hmm.
he was always, in that mind whether I should open up now or not, whether I should open up to the world that
Hmm.
yes, I have to do financial planning for my child. So because of that roadblock, that's the biggest challenge you face.
Hmm.
It's not going to be easy, to get clients who have got a special child,
Hmm.
right? Because they also, do not approach generally a financial planners because they within them it's like that if somebody doesn't have a special child, then how they're going to understand about their child life and how they
Hmm.
can really plan, and that's the
Hmm.
biggest challenge it is. So
Hmm.
that was the that was the kind of challenge I faced. I think where at that point of time, from when this client told me that it took me about 2 months to decide whether I should approach you or not, whether you should be able to plan for my child or not.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
he called up, we met, and
Hmm.
fortunately, he's one of our best clients today. He's still there after 12 years.
Hmm.
Now, at that point of time, I think it struck me that not articles are not going to do, right? They will not help me to approach so many families.
Hmm.
Or if I do, even programs also
Hmm.
in the media, that also not going to help.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
would have to write something, which can, where they can read and understand that yes, what I have written is what about their life, is what they want.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And that's where the idea of book came in.
Okay. Okay. Great. So lots of challenges, I believe.
Yes,
One challenge that you mentioned in your book was, when the parent comes to know about his child having some special, or his child is having some challenges, and you mentioned the phase from denial to acceptance. So while you are dealing, I believe when the acceptance happens, that is where the client, maybe he engages you or something. Have you have any client wherein you approached when he was still in a denial mode, and you have to sit and convince him, and maybe his family convincing him or something like that?
it hasn't happened up till now. Okay,
Hmm.
but yes, we have approached families, and probably they haven't come again for financial planning.
Okay.
So that has happened. But yes,
Hmm.
what you are telling is right, because a lot of families, it's very difficult to accept. One is
Hmm.
it's very difficult to accept that their child, you know, has a disability of
Hmm.
which they are unaware about. Okay, the acceptance, this denial mode comes from that because they are unaware about what is it all about and how the life is going to be in the future, right? So up till now, I haven't faced, that challenge. But yes, when I speak to my wife, there are a lot of families. She has done a lot of counseling for such families, who are in the denial mode, and then probably after the counseling, they have accepted it, and they have gone to a journey of becoming their special child.
And Tare Zameen Par was one movie which comes into discussion when we talk about such a topic. And how did the movie help people open up and talk about the children's disabilities openly and accept the fact?
Not to a great extent. See, what happens, Vivek, the families, understand that, that their child has a disability. The biggest issue was nobody knew what to be done now, especially on the financial and estate planning. Nobody had a clue. Okay, no family had a clue, especially when you talk about middle class families, when they have a special child. One, there is a lack of advice, and one, there is lack of information resources in India when we, compare us to other countries. Now, because of that, families, even if they have accepted it that they want to do planning, okay, the advice is not available. So what to do now? Okay, there is no way out. Yes, movies like Tare Zameen Par probably would have clicked. Any family who is watching who has got a special child would relate to it easily. Okay, but then the biggest problem is that they want an advice what to do now. Now that advice is not available. So what next? So probably there is a wall now, and families do not know what is there behind that wall. So unless and until that advice is available, it will be very difficult for family to move ahead. Even if I have a special child, even if I accept that okay, I have a special child, the life is going to be so and so. Okay, now how would I do financial planning? How what is there in estate planning? What I have to plan? There is no information available. If you Google it at that point of time, when you Google it, there is no information available. There is no advisor who can advise them. So then what a family does. So that was the biggest challenge. When I started my this financial planning practice for these families, that was the biggest challenge for them, and that was the biggest roadblock. That was the biggest roadblock for them to do any kind of planning, because the right kind of advice. I mean, it's not only about advice. In fact, if they want to search some information, they will probably Google will have lot of information from US, other countries, but nothing from India. Okay, because there hardly anything was written about the family.
Okay. One more thing you mentioned in your book is, parents get emotionally charged and they go into too many therapies, which at times is not required. Okay. And when you as a planner, you go and you are talking with them and you say, okay, this is not required. First of all, they are emotionally charged. And someone comes and says, okay, this is not required. It's not helping. Rather save this money and put it for the future requirement of the child. How do they act and react?
Okay. See, it's not a straightforward, answer from us because it's very difficult. I am a financial planner. Okay. Now that's a job of a medical professional to assess, whether those number of therapies are required or not for the child. But it emerged from from one of a client case where we were advising to the family. Now, when we did the financial planning, and probably that is the basis of my case study, which I have shown, in my book also. When we did financial planning, we find that they were in huge negative cash flow. Okay, I mean it was almost minus 40,000, 50,000 of the cash flow which they were running. Now when we analyze the expenses to a great in detail, we find out, and when we had discussions, we find out that the family was conducting therapy sessions for the child at home, at institution. So what we did now at that point of time, what we can do? So we took a disability expert and reassess that situation. There we find out that the therapies they were doing, okay, were actually not required. So much therapy is not required, right? It is way beyond of what it is actually required. And so we assess the situation. We then advise to the client, to help them understand that this is not required. What you are spending money on, okay, it will not help you to develop your child more than what he can do. And that reassessment actually, where the client after a reassessment actually understood it that yes, this was not required. And then the number of therapy sessions were reduced. And on the financial side also, he was able to do much better. In fact, today he is saving a lot of money. He is saving for the child future. Okay. So it's not a straight answer from us. We have got a team of experts. So like, we have got a disability expert, we have got a lawyer also, we have got a other professional also.
Okay.
Wherever we feel, when we assess it, wherever we feel there is a reassessment needs to be done. So we advise to a client, let's do a reassessment and let's see whether this is actually you are in the right situation or not. And then we reassess the situation of that client. Okay. And it came to our knowledge when we did this planning that yes, those were not required. See, what happens is for any parent when they have got a child with disability, every parent wants that their child should come out from this.
Yeah.
Within that emotional stress, and sometimes advice may not be proper. Okay. And it happens in all the segments, all the areas. Okay, they end up doing a lot of therapy, lot of medication, lot of other things, just in an anticipation that their child might come out from this much early in life. Okay, which is not at the actual situation. So we just try to reassess that situation and see whether it is practically it is required or not.
Okay. One more thing you mentioned in the book is, you expected the government to do much. And so you have, while you had evaluated a lot of initiatives of the government in 2015 when your book came in, 2018, sorry. Has there any progress been made on that front post the book?
I think post the book, there was one biggest change which happened, and that was the passing of Disability Bill 2016.
Okay.
Okay, in 2016, government passed a disability bill where they came out with lot of provisions to help families, who got a special child. For example, they increased number of disabilities. Previous to that, the Act, PWD Act was there. It was a very old act which was continuing and it was not revised. Okay, and so the demand was there that this act should be revised and it should be enhanced. Right. I think government did right, passing out a disability bill 2016 and revising the act. So number of disabilities would increase. People like acid victims or others who were not before, covered under the Disability Act were covered now, in the disability bill. There was a provision, to make all, government buildings and other structure disabled friendly. So like this, many provisions came in. I think that was a good starting point from the government. Yes, lots to be done, but revising the PWD Act and coming out with a new, the disability bill, I think that was a good starting point for the government.
Okay. And if someone wants to get himself updated on the initiatives from the government side, is there any comprehensive site or somewhere that he can get into? I think you have mentioned in your book also.
I have mentioned in the book, all the link of those websites I have given. So I think if any family search on those websites, they will find good information there.
Okay. So somewhere I was reading, you have mentioned the guardianship should be applied for, but at times it becomes very difficult to get the guardianship letter or the get approved from the government. So how, as per your experience, how difficult or easy it is?
Okay, so government has made the process of guardianship simpler for the families. Okay. So in 1999, government came out with a National Trust Act. So
Okay.
National Trust is a separate body which is set up by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So families, you got a special child. Now in general practice, if you have to apply for a guardianship, you have to approach to a court, to take the guardianship. Now families, you got a special child, instead of applying to the court, they can apply to National Trust. So National
Okay.
Trust take care of the process of legal guardianship and issue the guardianship certificate. Also,
Okay.
it has created some kind of a monitoring system over the legal guardian, to see he is managing the affairs of the child. So government has already created a national separate body, the National Trust, which takes care of the legal guardianship process for the families.
Okay. But is the process becoming smoother compared to what it was earlier?
So it is it is smoother, right? It is much cheaper than go to the court.
Okay.
See, National Trust is not mandatory. Okay, you can, if you do not want to go through National Trust, you can go to the directly apply to the court. But what happens is the process to National Trust, okay, is much cheaper for the families. Plus, I would say smoother than the court process. See, in the court process, we know, when you apply, how much time it can take. There are a lot of hearings. You do not know when your hearing will come in, and then there is a cost involved. So to save on those, yes, National Trust process is much simpler, than the court process.
Can a person apply on his own in National Trust compared to the requirement of a lawyer in case of a court?
Yes, in the National Trust, in fact, you do not require a legal professional. You go to the website, there is an online application. You fill up that application for the legal guardianship certificate. The committee will, give you a date for assessment.
Okay.
After that assessment, then they will issue the guardianship certificate.
Perfect. Perfect. Great. One thing very interesting which I was reading in the book is something which doesn't come to everyone's mind, even while planning, is when the kid becomes an adolescent or he gets into his youth, with so many changes happening, and the requirement changes, the emotional preparation to handle the child also changes, the way he is dealt with, or the medical care also changes. So now everything is changing for the kid. He is changing, his environment is changing. What all things a parent should take care in those changing times?
See, that is a huge transition phase for the families, because up till now they were bringing a minor child. Now minor child is moving to an adult. One, the lot of changes would happen on the behavioral aspect. Okay. Now, so families will have to take consideration that how this behavior is changing, what kind of a behavior is developing in their child. Okay, they have to revise the kind of services they have been taking for their child. They will have to revise it, and they will have to mold it according to the child requirement. A lot of changes would happen on the services side. For example, if there is a girl child, okay. Now, when the she is in minority, probably they would have a male support staff, okay. But when the girl child is moving to an adult phase, the parent would most likely to have a female staff, okay. So that way, there is going to be a behavioral change. The requirement would change. For families, no more therapy sessions would be required. From there, we might move to vocational courses. Okay. Now, and the focus of the parents would change, because up till there, the focus was on making the child more on the child those therapy sessions and other sessions, medication. That was more focus. Now, focus is more on child is developing the skills already the child has developed.
Okay.
Okay. So there is a shift in the focus of the parents, which parents has to take note. Now, when they are in this transition phase, they also, now this is the personal side. Lot of things would change on the financial side. While the child is moving to an adult phase, from a parent side, they are moving towards the retirement. So now they have to start thinking about, okay, where will the child live after their lifetime? Okay. If they retire, then where they are going to live? how the finances would be managed, right? What are the issues, legal consideration which will come up? Who is going to be the next legal guardian after their lifetime? So, in this transition phase, the parents have to consider both. They will have to think on the personal affairs, they will have to think on the financial affairs, they will have to think on the estate planning affairs. So, it's a comprehensive planning for the family which has to be done now. Okay, so I mean, from minority to adult is a huge transition phase for the family.
Okay. And I think one more challenge is, the moment you decide, you get to know that child is having a disability or a special need, and both the parents are working till now, one of the parent has to leave the job just to take care of the child. Now, at one side, your expenses are, increasing and your income is decreasing. So it's a dichotomy happening. And so what would you suggest in such a case? How should one take care in the initial phases? So slowly, steadily, we will definitely adjust.
Yes.
But the first couple of years might be very difficult.
It is difficult, Vivek, because it suddenly because up till now you were dependent on two income, okay, and your planning has been done on two income, but suddenly the change comes where one income stops, and now you are dependent on only one income. Now that's where financial planning importance comes into picture. If I haven't planned this previously, it will be very difficult to adjust in my life. Okay, how would I manage the same expense from half of my income, or maybe 70% of my income, what I was getting to in my home, right? It is going to be very challenging to make a sudden change. I know you cannot reduce your child expenses. How much lifestyle? So the only thing is lifestyle expenses. Now for a middle class family, even the lifestyle expenses are not higher. Okay, though expenses which are there is already the expenses which they will have to incur. How much expenses you can reduce? So adjusting there would be very difficult, and that's why I always tell to families, that take a financial planning approach as early as possible in your life. Because when you take a financial planning approach, you can work out the scenarios. What if you are reaching to one income? Then what will be the impact on your finances? So if you haven't done any financial planning, the moment it comes in, you would not have understood the financial impact of it before. Okay, it can be huge. It can be huge. You might have a loan EMI running also. Okay, and when it comes to this kind of life, then it is much like the same with everyone. If you are planning, if you haven't done any planning, adjusting on one income from two income is always going to be a difficult aspect of life.
Yeah.
Okay. For special children families, it is more difficult because their expenses are already on the higher side. So if from two income, they were barely managing the savings, you can imagine the impact if it comes down to one income.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's where, I mean, I always, the financial planning we have done, we have always find it difficult to advise any kind of, adjustment to a family who have already come to this situation. Because what adjustment you can do apart from reducing your expenses? Okay, and you can reduce your, let's understand, EMIs, child expenses, and any other fixed expenses. You hardly can do anything on that. Practically, it's very difficult to do anything on that.
And besides financial planning, I think there must be emotional outbursts also. कि मैंने छोड़ा है, मैंने किया है, तुम क्या कर रहे हो? So those kind of issues might come within the parents also.
Within the parents, sometimes it does come. Okay, sometimes it does come, and that's why even for with all special children families, even if one partner is planning everything, we always ask that let both the families come together and discuss with us. Okay, we will not do planning with only one partner because it's about special child, and see. Special child life, much like I, have taken a time to understand. Even within the parent, if you look at that, if one parent is taking 24/7 care and second parent is only earning, the parent who is taking 24/7 would know much more about the child than the second parent. Okay, So even there is an understanding required between these two to, both of them to come on the same page for understanding their child life. Okay, and that's why all these aspects have to be inculcated in the planning, and that's where financial planning is a necessity. I say it's a necessity. It's not an importance. It's not something which you can leave behind. It's a necessity for the families.
So what do you do when a client says कि यार जो होना था हो गया, पहले हम आज का सोचें या फ्यूचर का सोचें, प्लानिंग नहीं करना, पहले हम आज का करने दो?
Okay, see, first of all, we tell clients, okay, you have come to me now, right? Let's understand this is not going to help you right away. Financial planning is not a product which I can sell you and from tomorrow onwards you can be right. I always straightforward say it will take 5 years, before it can help. You can see really how financial planning is help you. Okay, because even if you have to make adjustment towards your finances, you can't make it in 1 year or 2 years. It will take time. Okay.
Yes.
So I always give these families the time for 5 years. Let's stay with for 5 years. We will review finances periodically. Okay, and we will see what best we can do. Within the life situation you have come in. We will try, to help you to come out from the situation. But take it at least 5 years. Don't expect in 1 year or 2 years I can do some magic for you, because your financial situation is already on a higher side than a traditional family. So I think it's straight away the 5 years. I say to a family that take it, just keep it in your mind that I have to see that in the next 5 years only I can come out from the situation and reach to a situation where I can manage my family.
Okay. And somewhere in your book, you have also emphasized on, writing a letter of intent. Although it doesn't have any legal importance or a legal, enforceability, but you have suggested and strongly suggested that we should create a letter of intent.
Yes.
Why is it so and how does it help?
Okay. I give you a practical situation, okay, and it has happened. Now, as a parent, you are the legal guardian for the child till your lifetime. After tomorrow, somebody else would be the legal guardian. Now, he may not be a sibling, he may be a family member. Okay. Now, if you have got a special child, he has got some unique requirements, okay, which which other person would not know. Now, as a parent, if suppose I leave my child to a neighbor for 4 hours, I can give verbal instruction, okay, that please don't do this, please, you have to do this. Extend it to 48 hours or 4 days. I can still give verbal instruction, right? Now, if you have to leave your child with someone for lifetime, can you give verbally instruction? No. Okay.
No.
Now consider a situation where parents are not there. Okay, and the child is a tall, handsome man, and some legal guardian has been appointed. He is not aware about the child requirement. Okay, the parent dies. Now legal guardian opens the door and there is a tall man standing in front of him, and he has been told you are the legal guardian, now you will manage his financial affairs, or you will manage his his all his affairs. And legal guardian is completely blank. What will I do? What will I manage? I do not know anything about special requirements. For that situation, we say write a letter of intent. If that, in a letter of intent, you write about your child life, you write what to do, you write what not to do, okay, what has been good with the child, what has not worked with the child, about his personal life, about his health, about any other aspect, okay. And when this written document is handed over to the legal guardian, and when he reads it, he actually understand about your child life, much more than when he was not doing anything. He can understand, he can relate, okay. And suppose tomorrow, if he has to contact a family doctor, he has in that document, he has all the contact number of professionals, and he can just call up and contact, and the child issues, health issues can be addressed. Otherwise, legal guardian, or even trustees also. It's not about legal guardian. The trustees who will manage the affairs, financial affairs, they are a trustee for a special needs trust. they also
Yes.
have to understand a bit about special child requirements because they have to take a financial decision.
Hmm.
If tomorrow some emergency comes in, a
Hmm.
residential care or guardian demands a certain money,
Hmm.
they should be able to understand now why this is being done.
Hmm.
So letter of intent becomes that one document which you can hand over to all the people who will be involved in your special child care,
Okay. Okay.
and they would be able to understand.
Hmm. So I don't think this can be prepared in a day. It's a well thought of document which will take a lot of time.
It does. It
Not
does.
not a mere formality.
It does. I tell you, a lot of families have almost taken a year to actually write a letter of intent. They have to
Wow.
think. They have to think. They have to look at the past. Especially when the child is in adult phase, they have to
Hmm.
really think. And then they have to write. It's writing about their vision also, what they want, how this child care should be done. What they want from the legal guardian, what they
Hmm.
want from the trustees. So what
Hmm.
we have done, what we have done for the families is that we have prepared a format, okay,
Okay.
and we have prepared an e-post.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Any family who wants to write a letter of intent, they can join this e-post. The
Hmm.
template is given to them,
Hmm.
and through the video e-post, question by question, we have explained what you should write in this section.
Wow.
Okay, so
Wow.
in 10
Okay.
days, 3-part, 4-part video series, they
Hmm.
are probably able to understand what they have to write. And
Hmm.
I think most of the families who have taken that report, they are writing in a
Hmm.
month or 2 months, they are completing their letter of intent.
Okay. Okay. And what would you suggest? How frequently it has to be revised, or some additions made, because things will be changing with the child, and so the letter of intent might also require a change.
Yes. If the child is in the minor stage,
Hmm.
probably annually it will be required to be updated because
Okay.
then the changes are frequently.
Hmm.
Once the child is an adult age, maybe beyond 20 to 25 years,
Hmm.
then
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
might not require it to be updated annually. So
Hmm.
once in 2 years, you might update it. Okay.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
frequency is higher when the child is minority stage.
Okay. Great. And so, for the benefit of our audience, if many of them might not have read the book till now, so would you suggest bare minimum actually what should be the start point and what they should look at?
Okay. You are asking from whose perspective? The parents, families, or
Parents
okay.
perspective.
See, when a family is thinking about starting their planning for their child,
Hmm.
okay, I think the starting point, or I say, what is the first document you have to prepare when you write, when you want to plan for your child,
Hmm.
and my answer is letter of intent. Just
Okay.
prepare a letter of intent
Hmm.
that help you so much to understand your child life stages.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
unless and until you understand your child life stages,
Hmm.
okay, it will be very difficult, to actually look at the future and understand what are the concerns which can arise, what are the issues you have to address. In
Hmm.
my book also,
Hmm.
if you see, I have prepared that timeline of child life stages.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Now that's
Yes.
the basis of all planning. If you
Hmm.
can understand that child life stages, you can
Hmm.
actually prepare, for your future. So I would say to all families, whichever life stage you are, just start writing letter of intent. Have
Okay.
that first document prepared.
Hmm.
You would probably know much more, that what needs to be done.
Okay. Okay. So great. Let me see if we have any questions coming in. Yeah, there's one or two questions. So if people have to approach you, how can they do that?
Okay. If they have to approach me, planspecialneeds.com is my website, right?
Okay.
I have, lot of information there. I have lot of information there for the family. Lot
Hmm.
of, assessment I have created there just
Hmm.
to help families, to understand that what they need to prepare. And a lot of
Okay.
families are taking that assessment. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
It just they answer some questions on different areas
Hmm.
and it gives you a score. Okay,
Hmm.
much like the risk assessment we do, and it gives you a score. And
Hmm.
on the basis of that, we decide it's an assessment which gives them a score which helps them to understand these are the areas they have to plan. That
Okay.
that
Okay.
assessment is there, right?
Hmm.
Or they can write me directly. They can post a query from my website. It will come to me, and I'll be happy to assist them.
Great. So, Jitendra, while I was reading your book, I just remembered Nick Murray and his book Around the Years, wherein he has mentioned, one of the reason of why a financial advisor exists is to be happy, doing well by doing good. And I think you fit the bill correctly, most aptly, I would say. So someone who is happy, doing great things, I think the kind of sense of achievement that comes with what you're doing is beyond any words.
Yes, you are right, Vivek. At the end, when you look, when you look at that, what is the success you have achieved, during your career. So I
Hmm,
think at the end of your career, right, if you are able to, introduce a segment to the country,
hmm,
that this was not addressed at all, and
hmm,
you have been able to assist families and bring more advisors to the industry. I
hmm.
think that's the biggest achievement you can have in your career.
Okay, great. And this brings another question to my mind. If financial advisors want some kind of help or assistance or guidance to work in this area, how can you help them?
Okay. So one is if they want specific advice on, if any clients, whether a special child is their client,
Hmm.
so we run consultancy for advisors also.
Okay.
We help them in managing their clients with
Hmm.
specific and with the launch of estate planning firms. So we
Hmm.
have completed the basket of providing all kind of services,
Okay.
to special children families and to advisors.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
second is yes, that is my future plan where I might will be bringing some kind of a program for advisors,
Hmm.
to helping them to understand the special needs planning area.
Wow. Uh, I'm really impressed on the way you're moving and not only thinking about yourself, but first creating a niche in the area wherein no one was there, no information was there, and then preparing or helping the families, and now preparing I would say, next set of advisors who can take up this challenge and go all around.
Yeah,
So,
it's because also Vivek, a lot of most of the families, probably want a local advisor to attend. They want to meet personally with the
hmm,
advisor because the kind of requirement they have.
hmm,
Okay,
hmm, hmm.
now surely one single advisor cannot address this requirement.
I
You
agree.
need more advisors, not from one city. You need
Hmm,
advisors from all the cities where the families can go meet and take the advice.
hmm, hmm,
Okay,
hmm, hmm,
that I have found working with the families that it's the local touch they are looking at. Most
hmm,
of the families. So though we are addressing families from across the globe, and
hmm,
before the lockdown, I have been traveling across the country and doing workshop and meeting families.
hmm,
That kind. But and the numbers itself, see, I am the only one who's addressing the families, and you have such a huge number.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
It's not going to happen, unless and until you have more advisors in the country.
Perfect, perfect. Great, Jitendra, talking to you. In fact, you are inspiring all of us to do something which gives you a sense of satisfaction more than anything else, and achievement also.
Thank
So,
you.
all the best to you.
Thank you,
And
Vivek.
I always ask another one question at the last, and which is, do we expect more books coming from your stable?
Yes, I've already thought about it. There are some topics I've already thought about, and
Okay.
very soon I will start writing it.
How soon can we see this or see you
Take,
back on this forum?
take at least year or two before I come
Sure,
out with my second book.
sure.
Because there is lot more to be covered, and one
Hmm.
book cannot cover all the aspects. But yes, there is lot more coming from my side.
Great, great. Lovely talking to you. And I
Thank
think
you.
this is one of the best conversations I have. And not because I'm not saying others were not best, but yeah, definitely it was in a complete league altogether. and love talking to you. Thanks a ton for coming and joining us and enlightening all
Thank
of our
you.
viewers. Friends, so this was Jitendra Solanki and his book, Financial Planning for Families Having Children with Special Needs. So I would urge you read this book. It is available on all the e-commerce platform. You can gift this book to those families because it becomes a primer for them. And I think more of a referral point if you want any kind of thoughts on any of aspect of financial planning with these children. So, and if you need to talk to Jitendra, he's available on his websites, planspecialneeds.com, right?
So there are two now. Planspecialneeds.com is there, and then specialneedescapeplanners.com is there. That's an escape planning policy
Okay.
which I launched, last year.
Great. So have a good weekend. Keep vaccinated if it is not being done, and maintain safety, maintain social distancing. All the best. Thank you. Thanks a ton.